You hired Scott Linehan to call plays, but you still have Callahan. You still got some guys. What's your plan this year?
Well, Jason, good morning to you. We looked heavily over at that Linehan over in Detroit. He could whip that ball around the stadium up there. I don't know what Wayne Fontes was telling him, but I'll tell you, it's hard to throw the ball around with a 60-yard video board in our stadium. So we might have to tell him to rein it in a little bit.
Holy mackerel.
We have DeMarco, and we have some good guys. But as a side note, big fan of your telecom show there. And got to tell you, I'm not a big fan of stadiums being built with money from American cars. A bad strategy. But we didn't hold that against Linehan. We hired him.
So will he be calling the plays? How is it going to work?
Well, I think I'm on the record here. But we figured Callahan would signal it in from Linehan down to Orton, who'd give a hand signal over to Garrett, and hopefully Tony Romo will get himself a good little play there with about 2 seconds on the play clock.
That could
and that was kind of a massaging of a joke that we actually did about how many people
Don't play it anymore.
Now, this goes on for 2 more minutes.
Too much. Don't play it.
All right, so let me ask you something.
What's the Muser Court rule on this?
Well, it's awful, and it's completely stolen. But let me ask you this. Because when Chris Arnold stole from that guy, completely plagiarized his column.
Which used to be a death sentence in journalism.
Right. Somehow, I mean, I think
he was gone for a week.
I think he got suspended for a week.
His career's really taken off.
No, but still,
it was a really bad thing to do.
Yeah.
And you published it. It wasn't like he took a guy's column and then put it in his own mouth on the radio.
Mm-hmm.
That's a little bit more murky.
Right.
But when you cut and paste and it's published on a website just like the other guy's was published on a website.
So that other guy that Chris stole from, his recourse was basically just to expose Chris.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't go after him legally or anything. So my question is, what recourse do you, as the, I guess in a way, owner of the real original fake Jerry, what kind of recourse do you have when you hear somebody like this who is completely plagiarizing your version?
You know what? I tried to muster outrage, and I just had too much tired head over it. And I wonder if I'm not falling down in my deities to be outraged at this theft of, I don't have much in this world. I don't make widgets. This is intellectual property in some sense.
Mm-hmm.
Feels weird to even call anything about Jerry intellectual, but
the word stage him.
Yeah. I mean, it's stupid. It's frivolity, but still, you shouldn't steal it from somebody else that blatantly, should you?
No.
I mean, isn't the first rule of plagiarism is to change it up a little bit?
Yes.
I mean, so, okay, for some reason, I'm the defense attorney for this guy, Elliot Harrison, in Muser Court here. Is there a chance, though, that he's just a guy who grew up listening to us, big fan, and he certainly doesn't mean anything bad by it?
No, he doesn't.
But does it matter that you don't mean anything bad by it?
I don't think it matters.
Because we had this happen down in that Houston station.
Mm-hmm.
We would do a bit, and the next day they would have basically the same content from the bit. Remember Fake Tiger appeared down there and did all the same stuff? And we found out there was some P1 up here who was friends with the guy who was doing the show down there, and he would just repurpose our bits and pipe them down to Houston. That's wrong.
Yeah, that is wrong. No, I don't think he means harm by it, but it still is wrong.
Well, he shouldn't do it. Elliot Harrison, you should consider this your cease and desist on it. I'm not going to go through the trouble of doing any paperwork or anything.
Right.
But I'm calling for it, and I know you listen, because obviously you do. So cease and desist on this. It also reminds me of the time back when I was writing for Quick, and I was writing that little humor column, and there was a guy who started a blog, and it was just my Quick columns, one right after the other.
That's right.
And somebody said, "Hey, Gordon, you stealing your stuff from this guy?" and he would just put his name on it. And there were all these comments on his blog talking about, man, this stuff's great, man. I didn't know you wrote. And
hey, at least the Quick stuff was being read.
Okay, all right. I knew it would happen. Yeah.
All right, keep us up to date on
how this goes. Elliot Harrison from the NFL Network. NFL.com.
Situation. All right, it's 6:40.